What? IS 4. Oh man, I hate those tanks. I don't hate them, but they're a nuisance, to say the least. Let's see if we can knock him out. Oh, good penetration there. Let's try to move, flank him and kill him with the next shot. He's gonna have to repair, that's my guess. Thank you, I needed that. Hi and welcome guys, this is Korpenflier and today we are going to have a closer look at the T-32 American heavy tank sitting at a battle rating of 7.0 at the rank of 4. I'll just run through the specs real quick of the tank so that you know what this tank is capable of. It has a 90mm T15 E2 cannon capable of carrying 54 rounds, although you won't need that many in your average game. It has a reload rate of 16.7, pretty good armor penetration with basic AP rounds, although that won't help you all that much at rank 5, since most of the tanks you will face there has more armor than this, so you'll need to unlock the APCR ammo. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. It has superb turret armor. Let's have a quick look at the armor. If you face it head on, it's got near impenetrable armor, although some tier 5 tanks or rank 5 tanks will be able to penetrate the gun mantlet. The hull armor, upper glacis armor, is almost 200mm of effective thickness, so it's not that bad, and the lower glacis is a bit thinner, so that's definitely a weak spot, as well as the machine gun port here. But facing this tank head on, it will be a formidable opponent, especially if it can be placed at the hull down position where it's only showing you its turret. We'll have a closer look at why that is a good idea in this tank. But before we do that, I'm just gonna run you through the specs real quick. And yeah, it has a good vertical depression on the gun, making it able to depress the gun 10 degrees and elevate the gun 20 degrees, so that's good. Turret traverse isn't all that great, but it's good enough. Max speed, it's not the fastest tank, but it's not the slowest. It's quite nimble. It has 770 horsepower at 2800 RPM, and it weighs about 54 tons. So it's a heavy tank, but it's not as heavy as, let's say, the King Tiger. So it's a bit smaller than the King Tiger, or a bit lighter and a bit more compact. It has a low profile if you compare it to some of the German tanks. And before we have a look at this tank's biggest selling point, the hull down capabilities on the tank, we're gonna just have a quick look at what you need in this tank to be able to play it efficiently, and that is this ammo type. Because look at the penetration. At 10 meters you have 273 millimeters of pen, and that will give you the possibility to knock out almost any tank, except for perhaps the IS-4 at some angles and the T-54 in a good position, or let's say the mouse. But you have the tools that you need to knock out any tank if you have unlocked the T-44 shot. If you haven't, you're stuck with a much slower moving projectile, and it's not as potent in the terms of penetrations as the T-44. And the T-44 also has a very good muzzle velocity at 1143 meters per second, whereas the T-43 shot has a much slower muzzle velocity at 975 meters per second. So this projectile is actually harder to aim with than this. I haven't unlocked all the modifications for this tank, but I've played a decent amount of games, and these are my opinions on the tank, and we're going to have a look at some video clips where I show you the strengths of this tank as well as some gameplay. So, first game. I chose this clip just to show you how potent this tank can be, or how well protected it will be if you put yourself in a hull down position like I do here behind the rock. However, my left or right side of the hull is actually exposed. So I take a few hits here in the beginning of the engagement where I take a lot of damage, and I get some men knocked out. But I've done some extensive cutting throughout this scene because it took a lot of shots and I took a lot of hits before the engagement was over. But I'm going up against a Ferdinand and a King Tire. Here you can see just how damaged my tank got by those first two shots. So I correct that and I place myself right behind the stone. And now they have only my turret to fire at. And the T-32 will never get penetrated frontally in the turret behind this kind of cover. Not by those tanks. And I'm also firing my machine gun to obscure their vision so they can't fire at me while I'm reloading. And then I'm trying to snipe that Ferdinand, but it seems like... Oh, did I say King Tire? Oh, sorry, it was a Jagdpanther as well. So Ferdinand and the Jagdpanther. But I think that one of my teammates knocked out the Jagdpanther, and I was left to deal with the Ferdinand. Because it seemed like I was the only tank who had ammunition that was capable of dealing with that Ferdinand. But my teammate down there to the left, he soaked up some damage that probably had been meant for me initially. So too bad that I couldn't knock out the tanks in time to save him. So Ferdinand's gone, and the Jagdpanther backed out, and I lived to tell the tale. So that really sums it up with this tank. It has a great gun and some good ammo, and you want to place yourself in a hold down position at all times, like I do here. I give them enough of my turret, just enough so that I can fire over the ridge. And here I'm actually too far up, so the enemy can actually damage my tank while I've been moving up to spot those two King Tires up there on the ledge. So I see my mistake. So instead of just going around the corner like that, I side scrape up, and that makes my tank even better protected from the fire that I might take from these King Tires. So the stone or the rock, the edge of the rock protects me, and it allows me to just peek over the side and shoot at them. And the only thing I'm giving them is my suspension, so that's the more or less the only thing they can hit, or the tracker, or my turret. Well, maybe not this time, but I'm sort of minimizing the risk that I will take critical damage that will knock out my tank. And at the same time I'm firing at their weak spots, so I'm definitely having the upper hand in this engagement. However, this cannon or this ammo is proving to be a bit like a needle gun. You do very little damage when you penetrate. So you had to fire a lot of shots to knock out the tank or be very lucky. At this point of the game, or in the initial stages of the game, I've been supporting my whole team as fire support, and I'm continuing to do that. I get another assist there, and I'm just, as long as I have targets to fire at, I see no need to move up or to change position. And one after another they just move out into my vision. So there's a Ferdinand, and I took out his loader or gunner first, and then he does a 90-degree turn, or pivot turn, and I could fire at his ammo rack there in the side. But that was more or less the end of that game. The game dragged on for another 5 minutes, but there was nothing else worthy of showing you guys, so I chose to cut the video there. Instead we jumped into a SB game on Poland, and I'm still in the T32, and there's something. Yeah, positive T54 spot, and I hit his lower glacis, and he's on an incline as well, so that means the angle of his lower glacis will be even more flat to my bullet trajectory. So that was a very nice hit there, and my teammate M103 finish off that guy. And then I see some outgoing fire from the forest there. I don't know what it is, but I know that there's a tank up there, and I'm in a very bad spot. I can't just rush over the field. So instead I do what every sensible tanker would do, and that is to try to flank the enemy. And I'm thinking about actually staying here in a hold down position, but since I can't see anything through those the thick brush there, I choose to move up on the flank and to surprise him from a different angle, because I suspect that he will have his frontal hull armor pointed at the M103. So I move through the woods and I hit the tree. Superb. That gives away my position if there are any tanks watching this area or this sector. Lucky for me there aren't any. And I spot something that is dark green. So that tank is definitely a Soviet tank. I fire. I can see from the hit footage that it's IS-3. And he's burning at the moment, so he's in a lot of trouble. So now it's all a matter of hitting that flat spot on the pike nose and killing the tank. So first shot is a very good hit, and it seems like that IS-3 doesn't know I'm here. So we reload the gun. We're also getting capped. The cap zone near me. Whoa! Now I can see that he's actually watching this direction. I could see the gun as well. And don't ask me why I park here, because that gives the IS-3 a good opportunity for a shot to take a shot at me, but he misses. And I fire once more, and since I don't kill him, I back off immediately, because I don't want to take that first hit from that IS-3 gun, because that 122mm gun will most probably knock me out. So we retreat into the woods and we reverse to have a look at our flank and to help out M103 who's covering the B base. And did you see that? No, probably you didn't, but I saw it. And I'm just baffled. How did I spot that tank when I was reversing, and I must have just happened to watch between the bushes to see that IS-4. We're gonna do that clip again. Can you spot the tank? Yeah, probably this time you can, but I often watch my own replays because I record almost every game I have, and when I watch my replays, I'm amazed about how fast the brain actually works when you're in a pressed situation and your stress levels are high in your body. It doesn't take much to spot the tank, and when I watch a replay I'm just Wow, how did I see that? Or how did I make that decision in that split second? And it was the right decision right away. The brain works in wondrous ways. And yeah, it's cool. So that I3 got it handed to him. Probably a M103 knocked him out. And I got the kill assist, and I can see that there's something up there, but I'm not gonna risk a shot unless I have a good target. And there's one. But I missed. You can't hit every shot, unfortunately. I would like to be able to hit every time, but that day is probably something like 4 years of 24 hours a day playing this game. So, yeah, until then, I'm just gonna have to be okay with missing a few shots every now and then. So, meanwhile, I'm scanning for targets. Can't see any hostiles. But I know they're up there, and I know that they will show up sooner or later. At the same time, I'm getting a bit concerned about our game, that we will lose it. But since there was one T-54 moving up, and there was another tank on my left, about 10 o'clock from where I am, there's the T-54. Another miss. And he gets bombed. But he survives. Yeah, I'm not gonna move out into open ground unless I know for a fact that at least one of them is dead. So second shot, or actually first shot, and that's a kill. So now we know that there's one possible tank up here on the opposite side of the field. And I'm thinking about that. Yeah, I probably need to make a move on B. And I do that, but as I do it, the M103 guys that have been keeping my flank secured moves up, and they take the cap. So I did some editing there, and I spot something between the bushes, and I don't know whether that was an IS-3 or an M103. So, but I saw handlebars on the side of the turret, and that looks like an IS-3. But I didn't take the shot. Instead, I move up because I suspect that it might be a friendly tank as well. But I go up to investigate to see if I can find any enemies up here trying to make a move on B. I'm checking my flanks as well while I'm doing it. Turns out it was indeed a M103 that I was aiming at. So lucky me that I didn't shoot them. And the guys I spotted, they move ahead, and I am a little bit lagging behind. So the rest of the game, they get all the glory and all the kills, while I get there about 30 seconds too late. So I get to watch the fireworks instead. So basically, the T-32. What do I think about the tank? I don't know. Until you unlock the APCR ammo on this tank is terrible. Or it was when I was unlocking modifications for it, because what this tank would face would be IS-4s and T-54s and what have you. And that's still the case now in the game, because at least if you play simulator battles, that is what you're gonna face. The events have set roster lineups, and you will go up against T-54s and IS-4s and IS-3s, and yeah, you face stiff opposition. And if you're playing realistic battles or arcade, you will most likely face Tiger 2s and Ferdinands and the odd IS-3 every now and then, and you will do fine against those kinds of tanks. But against T-54 or especially the IS-4, you will have a very hard time knocking out those tanks, especially if you don't have the APCR ammo and you're only using the stock rounds. That will be a nightmare. But you can do quite well in this tank if you pay attention to the long reload and you play this thing very smart and tactically. And yeah, a bit of a disclaimer, this is the way I play this tank. You might have a better game playing the tank in a different way. If you do that, please let me know. I would like to hear how you play this T32 to its strength. But I like to stay hull down in this thing because I believe it's quite a beast when it can be behind cover. And yeah, I kind of like this tank. It's not all that bad. It can battle rank 5 tanks and it can face a mouse and knock it out if you're lucky and you know where to hit. So it's not all that bad, but it will struggle knocking out the mouse, however, but it's doable. So yeah, it can definitely hold its own, especially if you find yourself in a hold down position. But not all maps have hold down positions that you can take. And if you're caught without any cover, you will be knocked out by almost any tank that you face. Especially Tiger 2s and Jag Panthers, they will knock you out if they hit your hull. Upper glacis or lower glacis doesn't matter, you will be knocked out nevertheless. So yeah, I hope you found this video entertaining and hopefully it gave you some kind of insight on how you can play this tank to its strength. Let me know what you guys think about this tank. I would love to hear your opinions. What do you think about the stock ammo? Can you actually use it for anything? Alright, so with that said, thank you all for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys around in the next video.